a lot of times I can say this, but I always enjoy having guests on that I sort of, I guess, idolize or grew up with that meant something to my childhood. And the person that we have on today, who I is like one of the coolest, most down to earth people that you could possibly ever find. He plays Mort Goldman on the hit family series Family Guy, and he was part of my childhood. And he's got a lot something really cool to promote. I'm very excited to bring in my buddy, who I can call a true friend, Johnny Brennan.
Hey, Steve. You know, it's funny when you think about it. You don't really think about it, but when you do, you say, "Oh my God, all the years go back, huh?"
Yeah, man. When I was in high school, one of my friends said, "Yo, you got to hear this tape." And what happened with you and being, the funny guy that you are and the creative person you are, you started doing these phony phone calls just because you were like bored, right? It was just like you guys had nothing to do, so you just started breaking people's balls, right?
Well, it was just me, and this is going back many decades. It was just me fucking around, um, and getting these characters on tape, and playing them for my brothers on the weekend. You know my brothers. You know
Yeah,
Muffin Ass, and yeah, and so it was just at the time he was just a kid. He was a baby, like Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane, when he started listening to my stuff, he was 11, and he and my brother Jason Muffin Ass are the same exact age. So it was just like a happy accident. I never intended to be famous. And that's the difference. Everybody talks about comedy and comedians and things like that. I'm not a comedian. Comedians, they work, they do their own thing, and I just did this thing that kind of took the world by storm. And I have to say, the new record is no different, man. It's been almost 25 years since I put out an actual Jerky Boys CD record. And the response I'm getting on this record is absolutely amazing.
We'll take it back a little bit. I want to get to the record in a second. Now, first of all, real quick, this is all new stuff.
Everything on this record is brand new. It was done within the last 2.5 months, 3 months tops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of time sitting home, not having nothing to do. Perfect time to break people's balls. So.
Well, you know what it is. The COVID really doesn't bother me because I don't pay much attention to it. I haven't, and I don't, go into that whole mindset that if you get COVID, you're dead. I don't buy it. So. I don't pay attention to that shit. I've been going out my life the way I've done for forever. But with that being said, I don't want to make light of it because I know a lot of people, they panic, they're afraid, they think if they got the COVID, they're going to fucking die and that's it. It's all over. That's how the media, has people believing. But, but the world kind of slows down. So you got a little time to do a little this or a little that. And I said to myself, because I announced it 2 years ago in Kingsland, in Brooklyn, the nightclub Kingsland. So I announced it 2 years ago. So I wanted to make sure I follow through with it because a lot of people were saying, Johnny, what the fuck, bro? You said you got a new one coming out. So I had to buckle down. And Comedy Dynamics has been very cool. They've been very patient with me, and they let me kind of go at my own speed. And we put it together. Sean Taggart. Sean Taggart once again comes through with just a brilliant the artwork on the cover, and people go nuts for Sean's work. So it all came together at once, and it was just perfect. So
all right. I want to go back I want to go back in time and say, because technology has taken leaps and bounds since we were in high school and shit like that. But you still had the ability to get some quality, recordings. How did you do that? Like, what did you use? What was your method? Because I got to just see, would you hold the tape recorder up to the phone, or did you have some system set up?
No, this time around, I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it just like I did back in the day, many years ago, where it's just me speaking to a device. Except what's nice this time is a good buddy of mine who's a friend to your guys and has been a fan of Howard and all the you guys and what you guys do. His name is Paul, and he's from Long Island, and he's a huge fan of mine. And he designed, or he took a note, an old note, and he turned it into a device that all I had to do, if any calls come in or any calls go out, they're automatically recorded, and they're recorded on both ends. So I couldn't thank Paul enough for doing that. And it made it really easy. So it was just like the old days where all I had to do was speak to a device. But this time I don't have to do anything except answer it. Instead of pushing buttons and pushing tape recorders and, getting the speakerphone and getting the boom box and hitting play and record on the boom box. And so it was nice. So I would go down to the Cornwall police station here in Cornwall, New York, and I'd park right in front of the police station, and there's a big cell tower down there, 10-story cell tower. And that's where I made, I'd say, at least 85, 90% of this record.
Oh, wow. Just sitting in your car?
Yeah. Sitting in the car with this note that when it rings or when I dial out, everything's always ready to go.
That's fucking great. So now it was just like literally when that tape was going around, and if for those you don't know, if you're a little younger and you definitely know Johnny from Family Guy, but it's past. It's like this tape was like it was like really was some of the first things that ever went viral without a computer, because
yes.
It was literally it went from everybody just re-recording the same tape over and over and over again and just handing it out to your friends. And I would literally get home from high school, drop my school bag, and run over to my friend Phil's house, and we would listen to the tape over and over and over again. I just had to lock my cats out, so I get it. So we would listen to the tape over and over again, and then we weren't listening to it, we were imitating it. You know what I'm saying? We were doing Saul Goodman, and we were doing all like the different characters that you were doing while we were playing stickball or football, and it was such a huge part of like that late 80s, early 90s, and we just laughed our asses off. And then it grew to such big popularity. The funny thing is, I remember when I first started working on Howard, and I brought the tape in, and they were like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, and then all of a sudden, then someone else brought it in, and they were like, this is brilliant. I'm like, I played that shit for you like a year ago when I first started here, and it was like it made no sense. Like they blew me off like I was an idiot. And then all of a sudden, I forgot how they found it throughout somebody else, and they were like, "Oh wow, this is great." And I was like, "Fuck you." I had that.
Yeah, well, you know what? No matter how it happened, and I know you've been there since the very beginning.
See, you've done my show before, and I usually just call you up and go, yo, bro, why don't you come on? And you're like, yeah, but I love the fact that I had to go through a publicist this time to get you to come on. It's like you're a whole new Johnny Brennan. I have to go through the publicist. I love it.
Yeah, no, not me, man. I don't ever change. I don't ever change, man. My personality's been the same. I don't believe in that stuff. Where you get, because I've been famous for decades now, So, but I don't go into that. I don't get into that whole thing, like where, but I have to respect the publicity teams of the record label because I can't schedule stuff because they have a schedule for me. That's the only reason, why everything has to run through them, because they can take a slot and make it, because today I have, but I do your show. Me and you go back, Jesus Christ, we go back forever. But, it's like I was saying before, you wanted this thing sideways, and I don't mind it. But there's no way to actually separate the fact that Howard Stern and the whole Stern Show and Steve Grillo and all the people, Gary, everybody from the Stern Show, and you can't separate the two. It's like that is, people always ask, with the Jerky Boys. I got this fucking dog here. Asshole. Get out of here. Look what he's chewing on. It's fucking dog.
He wants to play.
Yeah. So, you know, you can't, people ask, and when they ask the question, I got to answer it. And, you know, Howard will always be, you know, intertwined with my coming in. You know, people knew me from coast to coast, up and down, you know, Australia, you know, you name it. But, you know, but then Howard came into the picture, and somehow, like you said, you brought the tapes into Howard, and he got a hold of the tapes, and he started saying right on his TV, his radio show. And this is a long time ago. And Howard was like, man, if anybody knows who this Frank Rizzo guy is, man, I got to know. Call into the studio. And, you know, when Howard does that, you're talking about Howard having how many millions of listeners?
Well, not anymore, but
you know, but back in the day, you know, Howard, you know, I mean, so that's why whenever that comes up, I mean, I gotta put it out there because people. But again, you know, it was the viral nature of it was so extreme that this fucking dog. Asshole. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
What kind of dog is it? What kind of dog is it? Put him on camera.
Come here. It's my daughter's dog. See him?
Oh, he's a little guy.
Yeah, he's a fucking he's a what do you call chocolate Pomeranian.
Oh, okay. Oh, he loves you.
Yeah, but he's a fucking nut. He's an asshole. Get out of here. Get out of here. So yeah, so you know, it was you know how it was back then. Everybody and their mother was making copies of the tapes and handing them out, and the, you know, New York Times said it was the largest bootleg in history, you know, and it still went on to sell multi-platinum, you know, millions and millions of records. It was one of a kind deal, you know, Steve. It was a one of a kind deal. And
I love introducing new generations to the Jerky Boys. Like you know, my best friend's kids. You know, I just remember like getting the tape and playing it for them and watching like the same reaction that we had, like hysterical fucking laughing. You know, watching that shit. It's like something that, you know, it never gets old, and every generation could listen to it and just still have the same reaction. It transcends time, and it's so fucking fun. I can't wait to hear your new shit. What was your angle on these new things? Now that it's a completely different world from back then. The way you talk is different. The way you approach situations is different. You know, racial shit is different. So, not that you were ever racial in any of the old shit that you did, but you tended to be a little more aggressive. The way things are now, did that affect the way you were doing phone calls? Did it inhibit you a little bit?
No, not at all. And I'll tell you, you know me, Steve. You know me as a person. You know me for decades. I don't have a bone in my body that is racial, or that I'm trying to hurt someone's feelings, or that I'm going into something mean-spirited and I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to lambaste him and fuck him over. And I don't do that. That's not what I do. I've never done that. And you can go to the hardcore shit that I do. Let's say you take the auto mechanic.
Yeah. That's that's one of my favorites. That was the one that we did. Like one of my favorite lines ever was like, you say, I'll come down tomorrow. I start tomorrow. And he goes, wait, I got to hire you first, guy. You know, like that was one of the most like repeated lines ever in my group of friends. Right.
And so if you take that, and if you say you wanted to say, well, Jesus, that's Johnny. He's going at it, man. And you take the guy that I'm speaking with, you can clearly see that I'm still not trying to get him too angry. But I'm trying to just keep giving some zings. And like, for example, I say, you don't got nobody down there that works like me. I'm the best. You're the best? I'm the best. I'll wrap your fucking head in with a ratchet. And
I'll work circles around you.
Yeah, I'm talking to this guy like this, and he's just he's like, wait a minute, guy, I gotta hire you first, guy. I don't think you should call here and talk to me like that. And well, I'm the best, and I just keep trying to sell myself.
Yeah.
So you see, whenever anybody tries to pull that shit, and if you go back in time, you know, we've been around the block. Tipper Gore tried to pull that shit back in '93, I think it was. And she came out and said the Jerky Boys and this rap guy and that rap guy. And bing, we got to slap a big fat warning label on these particular CDs because kids shouldn't listen to this stuff. And the Jerky Boys was front and center. And what do you think that did for my record sales? Yeah, through the roof.
Yeah.
So because my fans knew better. My fans are like, I hear my mom and dad every now. If my dad subs his toe, he's like, fuck. What you're acting like these words are gonna fucking put you in the. They're just words. Yeah. I'll wrap your fucking head in with a ratchet. Or Brett Weir. Yeah. Get Brett Weir, I said, and it was more about
what's the story behind that? Because I know there's an interesting story.
Brett. Yeah, Brett. The good news is when I called Brett, he never got on the phone. If Brett would have got on the phone, it would have been kaput. It would have never. So I called Brett's building in New York City that Brett was running. He was a superintendent of this high rise.
A friend of yours?
Yeah, Brett is actually. His brother Dennis married my sister. They were neighbors of mine up in Salisbury Mills, New York, back in 1965 when my folks bought a house up in Salisbury Mills. So the Weirs and the Brennans go back a long way. But Brett, years would go by later on. Brett's a grown man now, and my dad actually helped him get into a building on 79th Street, New York City. Funny enough, my brother Joe is actually now running that building.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful building. So I called
79th and where?
79th between Lex and Park, right off Lex Park.
So Quivers used to live on 79th and First, so I thought maybe it'd be weird if it was the same building.
Yeah, 79th and First was my dentist. Funny enough, but that's where I grew up a lot of years of my life. I grew up right there on 79th Street. So with that being said. Brett never got on the phone, and it was his doorman that I was giving the business to. And, look, Jerky, I don't need to talk to you. You don't need to talk to me. I said, get Brett Weir, I said. So that was one of the actual first things that I've ever saw. I was driving home from a job that I was doing down in Brooklyn, I believe. And I'm coming home, to go up to the country, Salisbury. And I'm on the Tappan Zee Bridge, the old, Tappan Zee. And I passed a big construction bus. It was a green construction bus. And right on the back was this giant bumper sticker that said Brett Weir for president. And I was
shit.
Like, yeah. And that's way before, the fame. That had to be like 1986 or 85. And it said Brett Weir for president. So there was enough of a ground game where people were passing this out that it was everywhere. And that's right around the time that I started to understand by my cousins telling me at a family reunion that my stuff was all over the country. And that's when I started. And that's when Howard Stern came into. That's when everything was happening at once.
How did who could you say coined the term Jerky Boys? Because
my mom.
Your mom.
Yeah, my mom actually came up with that. My mom came up with the name for the whole franchise of characters, because the record company. I was on the phone with the record company, standing about 6 feet, 10 feet away from my mom. She was doing the dishes, and a mother. She's always listening into the conversations, and I'm on the phone, and I said, "Well, I know because they were looking for a name. What are we going to name this record?" And it was Atlantic Records, I'm like, well, they're on the street. They're calling it the Auto Mechanic tapes. They're calling it the Jerky tapes. They're calling it the Frank Rizzo tapes. And I'm like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, I don't like any of those. That's not a great name for And so while we're all thinking, my mom just screams out from washing the dishes. She's like, why don't you just call it the fucking Jerky Boys? And as soon as I heard it, and the guys heard her say that to me, everybody on the phone was like, holy shit, that's it. So
wow.
even myself, I was like, oh my God. She goes, you've been running around since you're a little kid doing all these fucking characters all your fucking life. Just call it the fucking Jerky Boys. And that was it.
Your mom sounds a lot like my mom.
Yeah, my mom was a pisser, man. She passed away in 2016.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, one of those deals. She goes into the hospital and gets an aortic valve replaced. Everything's perfect. Everything came out. Oh, John, beautiful. They were done in an hour and 20 minutes. Next thing that he comes running back in, we got to get her down a CAT scan. She's bleeding out all over the place. I said, what are you talking about? You just told me everything was perfect. And he said, oh, where we did the aortic, that's all good, but she's bleeding. Because they chose to go in. They were going to open her up, but they didn't do that. They went in through the groin with these I don't know how they do it, but they go in through the groin so they don't have to open her up.
Yeah.
And it turned out it was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare. But
it sucks.
Yeah. But she was a major part of, like I said, when I do Sal Rosenberg or I do Mort Goldman on Family Guy, that's actually I'm doing my mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so to the T. So she was a huge part. She actually did the back cover for Jerky Boys 3. Jerky Boys 3 was all done, and we're just waiting on, I'm just like, I can't get it. I don't know. I can't get the back cover. So I went over to my mom's house to have a cup of coffee, and I said, yeah, I'm trying to get the back cover for the album. I said, I just can't see it. I don't. And she says, without missing a beat, she says, well, why don't you just make believe you're looking over Frank Rizzo's shoulder as he's going through the newspaper and the bylines for numbers and things like that, and have a real nice kitchen scene in the back, like from let's say the 50s. And as soon as she said that, I called Sean Taggart, who did my cover of the brand new record. And Sean Taggart said, that's it. Brilliant. So Sean Taggart came back to me, drew it up. And the back cover for Jerky Boys 3 is Frank Rizzo going through the papers and the bylines. And all you can see is his forearms. And you can see the kitchen table. And so it just worked out perfectly. She always had an answer.
I'm thinking about this. It's kind of interesting considering how viral or how many people reproduce that tape for a record company to invest in sending out a CD that everybody already kind of had. You know that must have been an issue at the beginning. No, because I know you did more than that, more than the first one. But everybody's like, well, what do I need to buy it for? I already got a copy. Yeah,
but see, that was the beauty of it, and that was what everybody could understand. They said that it'll never get away from them again because now they can get it on CD. And now it's official. So because people had, back in the day, you remember, people had tapes and they would play them so much that the tapes would break. Yeah. And once they broke, it was a pain in the ass to keep trying to fix them. So now they could have it on a CD that's pretty much indestructible if you take care of it. And I think that was the thinking. That's just me. I could be wrong, but it sold millions and millions of copies. It was amazing. And let's face it, the record companies didn't have to pay anything. Imagine picture John Bon Jovi or any band, let's say, and what the record company has to go through expense-wise compared to me coming in with a $1.50 cassette tape.
Yeah.
So there was no real
overhead.
It was a dream to this day. I just heard recently from one of the guys at the New Tower Records that
is it Tower Records?
Yeah, Tower Records. It's new. I think it's online, but it's the New Tower Records. That Jerky Boys 2 is in the top 5 comedy albums of all time.
Wow, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, well, and the statistics like that are pretty amazing because when you think about it, there was really nothing like it. And the way it kind of took the world by storm. So it's been a hell of a ride. And then to come back after almost 25 years and put this new record out, just came out just last Friday, Black Friday. And the response on this new record has been just amazing.
I think you could equate the fact that you're so successful at doing these phone calls is because you just know how to grate on people's nerves. You find you find someone and you know exactly what to say to them to get them going. So on the new album, what was your premise going into this? What were you going to do? Were you still doing the same voices? Did you come up with some new characters? Because those old voices could have been recognizable. Someone might have been like, oh. And what was your premise going into the different phone calls that you made on there?
It was funny going into this new project. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to compete with myself. I'm just going to relax, and I'm going to just think about just what makes me laugh. What makes me feel like, that was fucking off the wall. That's the kind of stuff that makes me happy. And I did that. Because that was the hard part of making this new record. Not I got UPS here. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. So this is fun. Don't worry about it. I love real moments like this because it's just like everybody's at home and it's not like we're in a professional studio. We're at each other's. I'm in my apartment. You're in your house, and you really can. This is just real life moments. So
what it is? UPS just pulled up, and he went fucking berserk. So
do you have a copy of the new? Do you have a copy there with you or no?
Yes. Hold on.
I just wanted to show everybody what it looks like because I always love the artwork.
I just got this sent to me yesterday. So this just came yesterday. This is the new record. It's weird. I know. Can you see it? There are too much
Classic.
glare.
No, that's fine. Just put it up closer to the camera. There you go.
Sean Taggart.
Yeah, Sean Taggart's the man. He's sort of got the same, almost like the John Kay style of cartoon. John Kay did Ren and Stimpy. And, Angry George or George Liquor. Yeah.
See, and there's the inside. See, I didn't want to name it on the cover. Can you see that?
A little bit. Raise it up towards your face. Balloon animals.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Balloon animal. So now that I didn't want to put that on the cover. You see?
Yeah.
Because the cover is Sean's artwork, and I just didn't. That was so perfect that if you put balloon animals or anything else on there, to me it would have just. So I said, well, let's put the name of the album inside, Balloon Animals. So, and it doesn't matter to me because I wanted to have that feel from yesterday, like where it's just Frank and he's got a ratchet in his hand and it's the Jerky Boys. So that's what I wanted to have, that kind of feel. But it's the response, like I said, has been amazing.
And now it's just you and nobody else, right?
No. Yeah, no, it's just me doing the characters. That's that's the way, for all intents and purposes, that's the way it was.
I always liked it when it was just you, Johnny.
Yeah. And that's the way it's been for Jesus. It's 25 years now. It's it's been just me. Kamal split 1997, I believe he split officially. But before that, it was getting, a little wacky. But, what are you going to do? He's a grown man. He wanted to go make movies, and he wanted to go and direct, and he wanted to write. So I always gave him, I always said, God bless, man. I wished them well all the time. I never wished any ill will. So
no, I've never heard you say a bad word about him.
No. And besides, if he wants, that's his thing. He wants to go do it. So go ahead. But I can't just say, oh, that's it now. The Jerky Boys. I mean, if you look at any records that were ever out, I did 99% of the work, 99% of the characters. I did pretty much all the stuff anyway. So I can't just abandon it.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I got millions of fans out there. I can't just, oh, okay, that's it. Fuck it, I'm done. He wants to go to, then God bless. So anyway, long story short, like I said, I always wish him well. And, he's done projects. And from what I heard, Martin Scorsese actually was fond of one of the projects he's done. So, okay. Yeah, but that's, that is what it is. But
I bump into him every once in a while.
Yeah, that's cool, But
I had a weird first encounter with him where he was trying to, I had photos, I had headshots taken from somebody that they said that they were this awesome photographer, and I couldn't use any of the headshots. So basically, the guy said, you know, he was just going to do it for me. And then when I said I couldn't use any of this, he was like, well, then you owe me money for the film. I was like, but you asked me to do, you came to me. So the guy was like, I was like, no, I didn't want to do it. You were like, no, please come, let me take your headshots. So now this guy's chasing me down for fucking $60 for film. And I was like, no, fuck you. And then all of a sudden one day I'm at a bar and Kamal comes down and tries to shake me down for the $60. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
That is so funny. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. $60.
Yeah. So, but I got a really weird taste in my mouth the first time I met him. But you know, we do have a bunch of mutual friends, and everybody always says nothing but good things about him. My friend Ivy Supersonic knows him really well and shit like that. I think my buddy, I'm doing a movie with him in the spring, Eddie Crawford. He just did a movie. I think he recently had a part in one of his movies. So, but I love anybody that has ambition that's out there making shit happen for themselves, especially in this business. So, again, like you, no ill will, no bad thing. But it was just the first time, just like kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But so forget about that. Let's talk about. Do you have a favorite on the new CD? Is there a favorite phone call? Is there one that you were like, "This is my fucking Picasso"? Like, this is my.
It's so hard to do that or to say that. When I put this new record out, I said to myself, I said, man, there's a lot of good ones on here that, you know, that I might think, but I can't ever say that too loud because sometimes, you know, most of the time you just don't know. You never know. Yeah. So I knew to myself that this is some really good stuff and a long time in the making. But when the record dropped on Friday and people started to were able to hear it and to listen, I got just inundated and my phone was blowing up and they're like, Jesus, Johnny, this, and everyone, the beautiful news is everyone loved this one, that one, this one. Because they're and the funny thing is they move beautifully right to today. So you're talking almost 25 years. This record drops, and it's not even like I missed an hour. It's like they roll right in. Sal's talking about iRobots, and Sal's talking about his email, and you know, and Frank, and all the characters are in with us today.
So it's like Frank Rizzo 2020. Sal Rosenberg 2020. That's cool. Is there new characters? Did you develop something new?
Yes, I actually have a few new characters on the record that also are getting a tremendous response. And it's so funny. One character, I didn't even remember his name. And I wanted to talk about him in an interview. And I was like, shit, I can't bring him up because I forgot his name. Because I forgot what I named the character. So somebody reminded me, his name is Lewis. And the character is just off the fucking wall. It's now it's one of my favorite characters to do. So the good news is I have plenty of material now to roll into the next Jerky Boys record.
So how do you attack this? Do you just pick up a paper and go to like the want ads, or what's your plan of attack when you're making a phone call?
You know, on this record, I get, which is a good thing, I get people to send me numbers of people that they think might be good victims, or people that are argumentative, or people that, you know, so I have numbers to work with. Other ways, I just dial up something I think might work. It's exactly like the old days. It's no different.
Cool. And so Sal Rosenberg obviously is very, very close to Mort Goldman. Sort of like obviously they're brothers in a sense. Do you get any flack from the people of Family Guy with the Sal Goldman character being so close to Mort Goldman? Are they cool with that?
No, because Family Guy came at me 19, 20 years ago, and they actually wanted Sal Rosenberg for Family Guy. So I said that, you know, Sal Rosenberg is a Jerky Boys character for many, many years and has been for many, many years. I said, but that's not an issue. I said, because I knew I could, you know, Sal Rosenberg is, whenever I do Sal, I'm doing my mother. my mom used to have two hysterical sides. She had the one side that was Sol Rosenberg, laid back, like, should I bring all my shoes and my glasses so I have them? I'll take them. So, that sort of personality. And Mort Goldman is the other side of my mom that was when you pissed her off or she was in a bad mood, and it was a very amped up character, like, yeah, Peter, I gotta burn down the goddamn pharmacy. Or, just that much more aggressive personality.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I got the two different characters. And people understand, I think that's Johnny Brennan doing Mort Goldman. So you could clearly hear that they're the same. So we always joke around and we say that Mort Goldman is Sol's long lost cousin.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Every time I watch Family Guy, I just wait for your name to come to the screen because I'm so fucking proud of you, bro. Like to me, that I'm like, because it's one of the most iconic fucking cartoons ever, next to The Simpsons and fucking South Park. They're all three of them are right up there. Like we'll go down as legends for future fucking generations to watch. And I just love seeing your name on the goddamn screen. I'm just like, that's my fucking boy, yo. I love it.
I appreciate that. And I've been in so many episodes over the last 19 years. I've been in a ton of episodes. And people used to joke, they used to say Mort Goldman should have had his own show years ago because Mort Goldman is such a great character and he's so versatile. So you can use Mort Goldman in pretty much any situation and it'll always be very funny.
My favorite, I'll tell you one of my favorite episodes and you can tell me yours, but like, when he goes back to World War II, Nazi Germany, that's like, oh my God. It's like that just like groundbreakingly funny.
Yes, there's two episodes that people always say to me whenever we get a chance to talk. People say, Johnny, my two favorite episodes you're featured in both of them. One is Road to Germany, the one you just brought up.
Yeah.
And the other one is Family Gay, where I play Scott. I play Peter's gay lover. And Seth and I had a blast putting that together because we had to, he was in my earphones. And I was in New York. He was in LA. And we're having to make out and kiss and do this and that, the other thing. And it was hysterical trying to get through that. But Family Gay is also another favorite. And at the end, I believe, at the end of Family Gay, I go back in as Mort Goldman. I throw the horse through the kitchen window and it lands on the table. And I say, "Take back your fucking horse."
Your kids, I know, like with my family and shit. Not that I'm like on your level, but my family is so unimpressed with anything I do, which always keeps me grounded. My family and friends are just like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm interviewing Johnny Brennan. They're like, so. Like it's not because of you, it's just because my friends and family will always keep me grounded and they never let me. Are your kids like that? Or are your kids like, no, my dad's on Family Guy? Or they're like, no, he's a jerk.
Yeah, no. My daughters are funny. They're one's 25, one's 17.
I can't believe that. I remember them when they were fucking like 11.
I know. Time flies. But they're very proud of the work and they're very proud of coming up through all the years, but they lived it. So Victoria, my oldest, 25, she's actually on the tail end of Jerky Boys 4. You remember how I always would, if you let the album play out after all the skits are done, if you let it play, a sound comes on. I would just always put some kind of weird sound or weird finish.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Jerky Boys 4. My daughter Victoria's on at the very end, and she's only, I believe, 1.5, maybe 2. And she says, "Daddy's a jackass." And so here she is now going to be 26. And, they've been part of it, now they come, if I do live shows, they'll come to the shows and one will work the camera so that, when people want to jump in with a photograph. So my 17-year-old will take the pictures, they might hand out, stuff, and they just help out in a general way, help out. But
you always brought them to the comic book conventions and shit. That's how,
Yeah.
It was fun getting to know your family for the day,
Yes. And it is fun. It is fun. And but they don't ever they just understand that I created something, that over the years, people have grown to love, and I don't know if they give it much attention. My older one now, with her boyfriend, she might listen to some stuff, but always appreciates it. Don't get me wrong. But again, remember, see, they live with me. I'm busting their balls all day long. So to them, they're like, oh, that's Dad. He does that shit to me all day long, yelling and screaming or fucking yelling in the house or doing something stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm sure it's that way for pretty much, anybody who's in the business,
Yeah, and another weird thing about our friendship is the fact that, I've always spent every summer of my life upstate at a campground. That's where, it's trailer park, whatever you want to call it. It's a campground. And, that's where I listen to the tapes up there and stuff. And it's just so weird to know the fact, that every year there would be this family party that's on Mount Vernon Road up in Wurtsboro. And there would be this huge fucking party every year where it was 50, 60 cars. It blocked up the road, that they had dunk tanks and all this shit. It was the most epic party where we all we should just go down there and crash it because they look like they're having so much fun. And it turns out it's your fucking family's fucking party. That's the weirdest thing. Every summer of my life, it was oh, the family's having that party again. And it was you were there. And I know we're a half a mile up the road, hysterically listening to Jerky Boy tapes, and you're right there. We probably listening in the car as we pass you.
Yeah, I'll tell you a really, really funny story. Because, my dad started this whole thing off back in and around 1965. My dad thought it would be a great idea to get a summer home, a summer place to kind of raise the kids or let them go up for the summer and get them out of the city, because I was born in New York City. And, that's pretty smart thinking. At the time, my dad, he was running Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the original Abercrombie and Fitch.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, they used to have the shopping bags that said Abercrombie and Fitch, New York, San Francisco, I think, and it had one other major city. But that was all the way back in the early 60s. So my dad had enough sense around 1965 to say, hey, you know what? Get the kids out, because it was only me and my sister at the time. There was no other siblings yet. So we moved up to Salisbury Mills, New York, and got a nice little country place. And it only about an hour out of the city. I'm very, very close. So that was the greatest part, I think, part of my life, I think, was to have that happen, because it also taught me of a place that's up here in upstate New York that is really a love and a place to love, to come and be, and for peace. Now my brother Anthony owns that home. Oh. So we all get to go over there, and we're a very close family. I got a bunch of brothers. I'm the oldest. I also have a sister right behind me. But to make it a long story short, so after years would go by, my dad's brothers used to love coming up to my dad's house in Salisbury. But they're getting older, they're getting families. So in, I'd say, the early 70s, they started getting their own places. And where they started to locate was about 40 minutes north in Wurtsboro. In New York. And we would go up there when I was 16. We'd go up to my uncle's cabins and the places in Wurtsboro to hunt, to go deer hunting and stuff like that. And now I'm only 15, 16, 13, 14, and it was always a great memory going up there, because it was very different from Salisbury. Salisbury was close enough to the city that, it was still a little more hustle and bustle. But Wurtsboro in the wintertime, it was like no man's land back in those days. And I used to go hunting up on these camps right up the block, or right up the road. We say block. So right up the road from my Aunt Greta's place. My Aunt Greta's place is the place that you see that always has this monstrous family reunion. So we drive past my Aunt Greta's on the left. We go up that hill, and right up there, there's a couple of different camps up there back in the day when I was up there as a kid.
Yeah, the place that I go to.
Yes. And that's where we used to hunt. And back in those days, once the winter came, there was nobody up there. You could actually go through the campgrounds, you could go see all the houses and whatever, and nobody was up there. So that had to be, I'm thinking 1975, 75-ish.
Yeah.
In that area, 75, 76-ish, even maybe, 74. But very, very interesting, very cool. And to get back to even another cool part of what you just said, that's where I found out at a family reunion, I believe it was 85 or something like that, at my aunt's place right down the road from you, that you got, Johnny, you don't understand. Your tapes are everywhere. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then they bring up Howard Stern. And that is where I was sitting when I first heard all this information. I was at a family reunion right there where you're talking about in Wordsboro.
Yeah, and I was literally a half mile up the road, probably listening to tape at the same time.
Isn't that an amazing coincidence? I mean, stuff like that in life, I find there's reasons for everything.
Yeah,
it's just,
no doubt.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. So so people can order the CD from Tower Records, Amazon. They download it as well.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on iTunes. The Jerky Boys.
I can't wait. The other one. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. That's awesome. It's on Amazon. It's on iTunes. Last I heard, it dropped. It was #1. So yeah, and all of streaming media. So that what's that? Spotify, I guess, all these different things. But it's really I think they're gonna love it, and the response I'm getting now is everybody's going fucking nuts over it. So that's a great thing.
What about people can follow you somewhere? Are you on Instagram or Twitter and shit like that? Or
yes, my Facebook, Jerky Boys Johnny, Facebook / Jerky Boys Johnny, Instagram Jerky Boy Johnny. I believe it's no S, and Twitter same thing, Jerky Boys Johnny. All of that is at my Facebook, so you can find all the handles over there, and also the jerkyboys.com. And I should mention, people are going nuts over my cameos. I do a ton of these cameos.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to make money right there.
Well, the guys at Cameo said, Johnny, man, this is perfect for you, because the people can pick any character that they've loved through the years.
Yeah.
And I do birthdays that, as a matter of fact, I got probably an hour to get one out, or it's done. So isn't that funny? So, but yeah, it's cameo.com / Johnny Brennan. So people are also enjoying the cameos. But I'm just grateful that you give me the time to come back and say hello.
Of course, man. You're my fucking boy, bro. Absolutely.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
Well, I always appreciate, me, I always want to, before I get out, I want to give a big shout out to all the Jerky Boys fans out there. They're the most loyal fans I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, we all love you, man. You know me, I've been a fan since day one. Could you end this show with maybe like a Frank Rizzo saying, you're listening to Grillos AftershockXL Jerky, something like that?
Yes, Grillos Aftershock.
XL. Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
What's up there, you numbnut bastards? You're listening to Grillos AftershockXL. So keep listening or I'll fucking tune your ears back a little bit. All right there, nibble nuts.
Awesome, bro. Thank you so much. Nothing but success to you, and I hope you and your family stay safe. And I'm going to go download this shit right now because I can't wait to hear what the new level of Jerky Boys that you've reached. It's going to be groundbreaking. I'm excited. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and I will talk to you very soon, brother.
Thanks, Steve. Have a great day.
Talk to you later. You too.